Hello. This Shabbos we read the final portions in the book of Shemot, Vayakhel and Pekudei. And so we call this Shabbos Chazak because we say at the end of the Torah reading, when we finish the book of Shemot, we say Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. And Chazak means to be strong. Learning the Torah and getting through completing another book in the Torah gives us strength that will carry us through as we start a new book of the Torah, Vayikra, starting next week. We're also, this Shabbos blessing the month of Nisan. And this is the month in which Pesach comes. So Pesach is 2 weeks away. Hard to believe. Oh my goodness. Still got a lot to do. So it's very interesting that in the Parsha, it discusses Rosh Chodesh Nisan, because the theme of the Parsha, the main content of the Parshas, these two Parshas, is repeating again all of the commandments to build the vessels of the Mishkan, to build the Mishkan itself, which was the traveling sanctuary, which would house Hashem's divine presence and move with them through their journeys through the desert until they came to Eretz Yisrael, and they could make a fixed place, the Beis HaMikdash, as the home for Hashem's divine presence. So we have the vessels of the Mishkan, and we have the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, and these are told about in the Parshas of Vayakhel and Pekudei. And it tells us at the end of the book that on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first of the month of Nisan, is when they were to put up the Mishkan. So it doesn't go into a lot of detail about it, but it tells us that that's the day. And so it's interesting that our Shabbos that we have on Sunday is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So really, Erev Rosh Chodesh is Shabbos, and it's about Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and that's exactly the content of the Parsha. So we're finishing the book of Shemot. Now, this is a book that started with the names. Shemot means names. The names of Yaakov and his sons, and it tells about the 70 people who came down to Egypt from the land of Canaan. And it starts with the slavery that they experienced and ends with not only did they leave Egypt so that we have the redemption, but they actually have built this incredible home. They've received the Torah, and they've built this incredible Mishkan, this home for Hashem. So it's really a book about redemption. And we see that they started as a small group, 70 souls that came down to Egypt, but each one precious, and each one holding within them the seeds and the hope for the eventual liberation and redemption from the slavery in Egypt. And as we carry through, what do we see? We see now we have this nation that's been counted with 600,000 Jews. That's just the men between the ages of 20 and 60. So then there's all the women and the young children and the older people. So it's, 2 to 3 million people, from 70 to 3 million people potentially. Wow. And not only that, but this has become the chosen nation. This has become the Mamlechet Kohanim Vegod Kadosh, the kingdom of Kohanim, of priests, and a holy nation, chosen by Hashem to be his special people. Wow, what an amazing story we've learned throughout this book of Shemot. This should give us a lot of chizuk, should give us a lot of feelings of strength to go on in our mission. Now, we learn in this book of Shemot about the Mishkan. And the Mishkan is the holy sanctuary for Hashem. It's a place where Hashem can reveal himself. So, and later, this was then replaced by the Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. So there is the physical place where Hashem wanted to rest his presence, as we spoke about in an earlier talk. And yet, as we heard in Parshas Truma, it says, "Ve'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham." They will make for me a mikdash, a holy place, and I will dwell within them. It's plural. So it means that each and every one of us, spiritually, we also make for ourselves, we make ourselves into a mishkan, into a holy place where Hashem can dwell. So this is the transformation of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are to be a holy people, and so we have a physical manifestation of a place, a building, as it were, where Hashem can show his presence. And yet each one of us, through Torah and mitzvahs, we convert ourselves into a mishkan. We make ourselves, we create ourselves into a fitting place for Hashem to dwell. So the physical mishkan, it held the Aron Kodesh, which had the Torah, and the other main item, I guess we could say, one of the main items was the altar, the Mizbeach, where they would offer the sacrifices, the korbanot. So those reflect two different aspects of the Mishkan. One is the Torah in the Aron Kodesh, and the other is the sacrifices, which are things which bring you close to Hashem. That represents mitzvahs. So we have the two ideas of Torah study and mitzvah, practice of mitzvahs. So Torah study creates a mishkan within us by making us one with Hashem. When we study Torah, we sort of join with Hashem, and we're getting his wisdom. And our sages tell us, Chassidus tells us, that makes us unified with him. The observance of mitzvahs, it brings the Torah, the esoteric, the intellectual principles, the beauty of Hashem's wisdom, it brings it down into a physical manifestation. So it's not enough to just be thinking and praying in our heart and in our mind about God. We have to actually take that and bring it into a physical manifestation, just like the Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash was something physical, and the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark, had the physical tablets of stone, and then the altar would have physical offerings brought upon it. So too, we have to bring the wisdom of Hashem that we learn down into the physical and do the mitzvahs. And through this fusion of the high, lofty, intellectual principles with the physical actions that connect us to Hashem, because these are the ways that Hashem told us about how to build our Mishkan. When Hashem, we have a tradition. There were two traditions as to when Hashem created the world. So one tradition says it was on the 1st of Tishrei. Well, that's when he created man. Okay, so the world was created in Tishrei, which is when we celebrate Rosh Hashanah. And then we have another tradition that says the world was created on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And that's when the Mishkan was put up, okay, all these years later. So it's significant that Hashem created a physical world, and he completed it, and it was ready to go on the first of Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah. And the Jews created a physical Mishkan, and it was completed and ready to go and put up on the first of Nisan. Sort of a parallel between Hashem's creating the world is our creating a Mishkan. So each one of us is considered a whole world. That's what they say about that each person is so valuable. We're like a whole world. So we need to go about our actions to create this beautiful world where Hashem can dwell. And he gave us all of the blueprint. He gave us all of the instructions. You know, like if you're going to get a box to create a little dollhouse or something, you know, you open it up and you got this piece and that piece and glue here and put there and that. So Hashem gave us that blueprint. He told us, okay, here's what the world is. Here are the Torah. Here's the Torah. Here are the mitzvahs. And that's how we create our Mishkan. So it's through Torah study and doing the physical mitzvahs. And we have the mitzvahs between us and Hashem, and we have the mitzvahs between us and other people. So all of those mitzvahs are important. All of them create a Mishkan. Now at the end of the book of Shemot, the end of Parshat Pekudei, we see that they put up the Mishkan, and Hashem brought his cloud of glory and dwelt within the Mishkan. And Moshe was afraid to enter because he said, how can I go in? So that's why in the book of Vayikra, it starts out, Vayikra, he was called because he was afraid to go in. So Hashem had to call him and say, yes, it's okay. You can come in, Moshe. You, not everybody, but you can come in, Moshe. I'm going to call you in. But we're told at the end of this parsha, when it talks about Hashem bringing his cloud of glory down onto the Mishkan, that it says that Hashem's cloud of glory would guide them. So when the cloud would go up, they knew it was time to get ready, start packing up to travel, and the cloud would show them the way. Okay? This was the divine presence that would show them the way by the way it moved. So for us, if we are going to create ourselves as a Mishkan through Torah, through mitzvahs, and we do our best. Not everybody can be perfect. Not anybody can be perfect, I should say. We all have so many challenges, but by each time we do a mitzvah and each time we learn some Torah, we are perfecting our Mishkan. We're adding another brick to the Mishkan that we're creating. So then we have a place where the divine presence, the cloud, can dwell. And the divine presence will guide us. It will lead us, just like the cloud of glory led the Jews through the desert. So too, Hashem's Shekhinah will guide us from place to place. We just have to follow it with faith, with love, with devotion, and understand that everything that happens to us in life is being guided by that cloud, which is on top of our Mishkan that we're creating. And as we put more effort and we do more Torah and we do more mitzvahs, we will shine. We will shine like we will show the divine presence. People will see it upon our faces, upon our beings. The divine presence will show. So all of our life is this journey, and the divine presence, the cloud, is guiding us. And as each one of us develops our Mishkan and our holy sanctuary within us, we contribute to the overall Kedusha in the world, which will then cause Hashem to come down and bring his presence in a very revealed way in the world with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu. So I want to bless everyone to have a wonderful Shabbos and beautiful Rosh Chodesh. preparations for Pesach should go well. You should have a kosher Freilichen Pesach. And God willing, we are going to celebrate Pesach this year in the Beit HaMikdash with the Korban Pesach in all of the ways that it describes in the Torah, and in just having the most beautiful, beautiful holiday all together, joined together with each other, with Mashiach, with Hashem in Yerushalayim. Good Shabbos and good Chodesh.